It's your favorite math teacher, Cubs fan, of course. Go Cubbies tonight. I'm going to explain to you what the difference between rational numbers, integers, and we're also going to talk about whole numbers, okay? So let's see if we can break this down a little bit. First, you start with the biggest thing is rational numbers. Rational numbers are pretty much every number a teacher could give you, okay? So the definition of a rational number in real people terms is any number that can be written as a fraction, all right? So fractions are rational numbers, 1/2, 2/3, 3/4. Those are already written as fractions, so they're rational numbers. Whole numbers are rational numbers. Whole numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, are counting numbers. Whole numbers can be written as fractions by writing them over 1. So for example, let's take the number 4. Can you all see that? The number 4 can be written as a fraction by putting it over the number 1. That makes this whole number into a fraction. So we consider the number 4 a whole number, we consider the number 4 a rational number because it can be written as a fraction by putting it over 1. Okay, so fractions are rational numbers, whole numbers are rational numbers, also decimals that terminate. Real people terms, it's decimals that end, that stop. So 0.25, for example. 0.25 is a very common one that we use. 0.25 can be written as a fraction. 0.25 as a fraction is equivalent or the same as 1/4. So 0.25 can be written as a fraction. It's 1/4. So this is a rational number because it can be written as a fraction. So let's review what a rational number is. Any number that can be written as a fraction. Fractions are rational numbers. Whole numbers are rational numbers, positive or negative, doesn't matter. The negative doesn't change anything. And decimals that stop. So that leaves one thing that is not a rational number. There's only one. It's a decimal that goes on forever and it never ends. And what's that called? It's called a repeating decimal with that little bar on top of the number, right? I'll give you an example. 0.32, let's 5. Just making it up, okay? Right here, 0.325. What do you see above that 5? That little hyphen, that little bar, that means that number repeats forever. You could see the bar above the whole number, all the numbers. It doesn't matter. That means it goes on and on and on and on and on. It's never gonna stop. If that decimal never stops, if you see a bar above the number, that is the only thing, guess what? That is not a rational number. It cannot be written as a fraction because it goes on and on and on and on forever. Okay, so if I were to write 0.4, let's go over here, 0.4. Can I write that as a fraction? Yes. As a fraction, it's 4, the number you see, over the place value that it's in. The 4 is in the tenths place. So I write it as 4/10. Now, I can simplify that fraction, but I'm not concerned with that right now. I'm just showing that that can be written as a fraction. So this is a rational number. Have you ever seen this symbol before? Pi, right? Pi, or we think of it as 3.14. 3.14. Guess what, guys? This is not rational. Because we round it to 3.14, but pi is actually a repeating decimal. It goes on and on and on and on forever. And remember, the only thing that is not a rational number is a decimal that goes on and on and on and on forever. So you're looking for that bar. Every other number that your teacher gives you is a rational number. A fraction, positive, negative, I don't care. Positive, negative, I don't care. 0, it's a fraction. So it's a rational number. Okay, that's rational numbers. Pretty much everything in the world is a rational number except for something with a little bar over it. Not rational. That's all you need to know about that. Integers, okay? Integers are your counting numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they're opposites. Those negatives as well. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, and so on, including 0. It's basically the number line on both sides. Everything is an integer. Here's my little number line. Notice I have 0, and I have my 1, 2, 3, and so on. I just don't have enough room. -1, 2, 3. Those are all integers. Notice there are no decimals. There are no fractions. Integers are just your counting whole numbers, positives and negatives and 0. That is what an integer is. Oh, and then the third thing, so we have rational numbers, which is pretty much everything in the entire world, except for the little thing with the bar. We have integers, which are positive numbers and negative numbers, not anything with a decimal, no fractions, just your counting, and 0. That's an integer. Your whole numbers are things you can buy in the produce department at H-E-B, or Randall's or Kroger, wherever you want to shop. I like H-E-B. So if you can buy 1 orange, it's a whole number. 2 oranges, it's a whole number. Can I go to H-E-B and buy -2 apples? No. That means it's not whole. You can't buy a whole one. What if your mom sent you to H-E-B to buy 2.5 apples? Have you ever seen someone take a bite out of an apple and ask to only pay for half of it? Maybe you should try it out, but I don't think it would really work. No, whole numbers are just numbers of things you can buy from a store. A whole item. Okay? So whole numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They do not include 0. You cannot go to H-E-B and buy 0 produce. Okay? So integers include those whole numbers, positive, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and on. 0, and their opposites, negative. Notice whole numbers and integers do not include decimals, do not include fractions. If you see a decimal or a fraction, the only possible thing that it could be is a rational number. Okay? It can only be rational unless it has that bar over the top of it. And they may trick you by giving you the pi symbol. Remember, pi is not a rational number because it is a repeating decimal. Think of it as, look, it has a little bar on top of it, right? So anything with a little bar on top of it, it's nothing. And guess what? If it's not rational, it can't be an integer, it can't be a whole number, it can't be anything if it's not rational. So the easiest way to think of it is think of what's not rational. The only thing that's not rational is a decimal that goes on forever. Everything else is rational. Integers are only your counting numbers and they're negatives, they're opposites. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No decimals, no fractions. Whole numbers are only your positives, only the produce you can buy from H-E-B. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. I hope that breaks it down a little bit for you. But send me a message if you have any questions. Bye!